Okay, now let's start again. I thought I was broadcasting, but I wasn't. Welcome, everybody. I'm Elise Tager, business coach to female entrepreneurs, ambitious female entrepreneurs. I'm glad you're here today. I am just a little bit of housekeeping. We are on Zoom, and I don't know how many of you have been on Zoom before, but at the bottom of your screen, there is a little area for Q&A. And if you have any questions today, put your questions in the Q&A. I'll try to get those at the end of the webinar, but I'll tell you what, I have a lot of material to present, so I might not be able to within an hour. However, if you have a question, put it in the Q&A and I will get back to you directly with an email from me so you get your questions answered. So again, I don't know if I'm repeating myself because I can't remember, I can't figure out if I was broadcasting when I started, but housekeeping again, I've got everybody on mute because it tends to get chaotic. So I won't be able to hear you or see you because I've got the videos off for everybody. But hopefully again, if you can put stuff in chat, that will be great. So I'm going to turn my video off because it's distracting to me. And I'm going to share my screen. Share screen. Share screen, share, share. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so let's get started. So who is this for? And I skipped slides already, my goodness. Okay, who is this for? If you're a solopreneur and you want to grow your business and don't know how to get off the hamster wheel of doing, this is the right place for you. If you are not happy as a one-woman band, as a solopreneur, and you want to grow your business and you don't know how, you want to make some changes, this is for you. Not all solopreneurs do want to grow or do want to stop being a solopreneur. Some are very happy working alone, and that's fine. If that's you, this is not going to be a great webinar for you. But if you do want to get off the hamster wheel of doing everything yourself, this is the right place. So in the next 45 minutes, more like 55 minutes, I'm going to show you the 5 steps that I use to grow my business to over $1 million in revenue in only 12 months. Sorry, I got someone waving their hand there. I'm going to help you identify your obstacles and get out of your own way to make way for growth. I'm going to show you how to avoid feeling a loss of control as you think about building a team, even if you had hiring mistakes in the past. Well, I can't advance my slides. Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm going to help you transform your fear of spending money into a healthy understanding of investment to help build your business. One of the things that I hear from a lot of solopreneurs is, I just can't afford it. I don't have the money. So we're going to talk about that later on in the presentation. And I'm going to help you understand what it actually means to work on your business and not in your business as a true CEO. So here's my promise to you. You know, every solopreneur is different, and each has strengths and weaknesses and different levels of commitment to their success. And how to apply the information I'm going to share with you today is going to be different for all of you. But from working with literally many solopreneurs and small business owners in the last 2 years, I know that these strategies I'm giving you today will allow you to generate much more revenue and create a balanced business and life so that you can grow even further from where you are now. So I've had 4 businesses and have had a lot of success, but I also know what it means to struggle. I have certainly been there, and I promise to save you from all of that pain. I really would like to save you from the bumps and the bruises. So I know exactly what works and what mistakes you need to avoid right from the get-go. So let me ask you now, does this sound like you, Ms. Solopreneur? You're too afraid to spend money because for additional help because cash is always tight. You're exhausted by never-ending to-do list and wearing too many hats. That's the first thing that any solopreneur says to me, is that they are just drowning, they're time-starved. If you desire a business that fits your life, not a life that has to work around your business, and if you struggle with never being able to take a vacation or real time off, how many of y'all are spending nights and too many hours on the weekend working on your business frantically. So you're in the right place. Does this sound like you also, if you've said no to a new opportunity or to new business because you couldn't handle any additional work? That is scary. And if the passion with which you started your business is just a faint memory. So most of us started our business because we loved what we do. We had a lot of value to share. We just couldn't wait to get up in the morning. And now that you're up to your ears in the details of running your business, that you can't even remember why you got started. Or does this sound like you know where you want to go with your business, but you can't figure out how to get there? So this is important now. And I'm so glad you're on the webinar now, because this is pretty important now. Every day that you spend as a solopreneur is hampering your ability to grow your business. See that little guy in the weeds? He can't get out of the weeds because he's too stuck doing the day-to-day. How much revenue are you losing weekly because you're lost in the weeds of the doing and not creating the growth of your business? So if you could do only what you do best and focus on the new business development and finding new high-paying clients or customers and leave the details, that admin stuff, to other people, think of the growth that you could create. But I'll betcha that you are too stuck in the weeds now with the doing of your business to be able to see above the grass. So stick with me, friends. I have a gift for you at the end. I also want to tell you that I'm coming from a place of integrity with this webinar. I have been through the ringer, and I just want to share that with you in the course of the revenue. And so I also want to tell you, I'm not here to sell you anything. I don't have a course to sell you on. I don't have anything to sell. So just relax and sit back and listen to the content. Take notes if you'd like to. I'm going to be sending out a replay to all of you. So if you want to just listen again, that's great. If you want to take notes, that's great, but you don't have to. But if you stay until the end, I'm going to give you a chance to get even more support for your business. And each of every one of you on this call today are different. You're in different niches. You have different backgrounds, different talents, different desires. Your success depends only on how you apply what I'm going to teach you today to your business. So listen closely. If you're interested in that, make sure you stay until the end of the presentation, and I'll be able to tell you more about how to get the most benefit out of this. So the real problem with many solopreneurs is they don't know how to get out of the trap that they've set for themselves, which is this hamster wheel that they're on. And the real problem is you don't know how to get out. And so you've not taken these steps that I'm about to teach you about today to give you a method for getting out of the trap. But once you take these steps, I promise you'll have absolute confidence in your business and yourself going forward. You'll feel in complete control and have the ability to greatly increase your revenue, and you will not be working day and night. You won't be suffering for feast or famine in your revenue, and you won't be suffering from that lack of work-life balance. That is exhausting. So I'm going to tell you more about my story in a minute, but I just want to preface this by saying I have sort of an unfair advantage here. I've worked with solopreneurs and small business owners for over 10 years, as well as growing my own businesses. So I've had, as I'll tell you later, I've had 4 businesses myself. I also was the West Coast director for Constant Contact for 5 years. And in that job, I was able to talk to and with hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs and small business owners and really understand their pain points and how to help them get out of where they were. I've been in online marketing for, I won't tell you how many years, it's a lot. And so I have a lot of the expertise of Facebook marketing and Facebook advertising and Google advertising and email marketing. So a lot of that stuff is already tools that I have mastered. People know my name now. I've already made $1 million or more in this field. I'm really known in the industry, and I have a list to build from. So this stuff I tell you because this might not be where you are right now, and that's perfectly fine. So as they say on TV, my results might not be your results, but I just want to give you an idea of what you can accomplish with the steps that I'm going to give you today. So one thing you need to know is that there are 5 simple steps that I used and that you need to finally start growing your business. And I'm going to walk you exactly through what those are today. I'm going to get you a little peek behind the scenes at the back end of my business and how other people have grown their businesses. This is stuff I usually don't share. You know, when we're all on Instagram and on Facebook, we like to put the glittery good news out there, all the best headshots and the best successes and what have you. So I'm taking you behind the scenes, and I'm going to show you the down and dirty of what it can look like. So you have an idea of what you might be going through and how to get yourself out of it. So who am I? Who is this woman talking to me on this webinar? So I'm known as the go-to business coach for ambitious female entrepreneurs. For the past 10 years, I've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs, as I described, and helped them clarify their entrepreneurial vision, map out their strategy for growth, and help them achieve their goals. And I love doing it. I just love it. It's like candy to me. I've been a serial entrepreneur myself. I have had 4 successful businesses, and I'm absolutely passionate about helping other women find their paths. I am putting in front of you my fabulous family. That's my husband in the left-hand side. My daughter Isabel is a culinary school graduate and is a baker on the East Coast right now in Boston. And every time she comes home, we are awash in baked goods, not complaining here. And my wonderful son Sam on the right-hand side is a film student. He's living at home right now with us. I'm so delighted to help me take care of my husband. So that's my family, and they are my why. And I know a lot of people say that, but they are the reason I get up in the morning, and I feel very blessed to have them. But the reason I put this slide in front of you is not to let you gaze at how beautiful my family is, but it's to remind you that if you're an entrepreneur, your family is in it with you, whether you like it or not. So if you're doing well or not doing well, if you're stressed, if you are suffering from a lack of self-confidence, your whole family is suffering with you. So keep in mind that this work-life balance that we talk about a lot is very real to the rest of the family. And you want to be able to conquer that so that you are not dragging them down with you. You want them to be able to celebrate the joys with you. It's a family show, whether they're working with you in your business or not, because your energy, you know, resonates with them as well. So keep that in mind as you're building your business. So let me tell you a little bit about my business. I had a media buy. One of my 4 businesses is the one I want to focus on. I had a media buying agency for 11 years, and that is buying online advertising for, in my case, I was working for high-tech companies like Cisco and HP and Symantec and a whole bunch of others. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. For the first 1.5 years, I was a solopreneur and doing really well. I loved what I was doing. My clients loved me. Business started booming because once I started working with HP, another division would find out about me and start wanting to use my services as well. So even without any marketing, I found that my business was growing quickly because of the sharing that was done within the clients that I currently had. So business started booming as the referrals came in, which is good news and bad news, because I was working myself to death. Long days and at least part of every weekend. And at the time I had 2 small kids who were not getting enough of my attention. And when I was home, I was exhausted. So I couldn't keep up with the business I had. And I had to say no to several very lucrative new clients in order to try to keep up with the ones I had. Even those favorite clients I had that were so loyal to me over the first year or so weren't getting my fullest attention. They weren't getting stellar work. So I was burnt out. My clients were getting taken care of. It was not a place that you want to be in. Plus, and this is the real killer, I realized that I had absolutely no time to look for new clients. I was totally dependent on the ones I already had. And that is a very dangerous position to be in because things happen. You know, you might have 3, 5, 10 very loyal clients who are producing a good revenue for you, but things happen. You know, they close the business, or management has changed, or they've got a change of direction, or they pull what you're doing in-house. You can't rely on the business that you already had. You always have to be looking for more and building a prospecting funnel or a prospecting activity. And if you don't have, you are very, very vulnerable. And that's exactly where I was. So not only was I exhausted, but I was very, very vulnerable. So I was at a turning point. I could do one of three things. I could either continue to struggle, which really wasn't an option because I was so burnt out. I could fold the business and go look for work, which isn't the kiss of death, but at that point I felt pretty unemployable. You know, once you've been an entrepreneur, it's very hard to go back to work for somebody else. And I knew that was me. I didn't really want to do that. Or I could try to figure this out. And I really had to figure it out because I couldn't continue the way things were. So the roadmap for me was I had made a decision to change my mindset from loving being the worker bee, because I just loved the doing of that, what I was doing, to being a leader and a CEO of my soon-to-be even more booming business, which, believe me, was a major shift. It was a shift in mindset. It was a shift in skill set. But I had to make the transition or I wasn't going to survive. Oh, rats, I keep missing slides. So I really didn't know what to do. I knew I didn't have the roadmap, the expertise to get me where I needed to go, and I started looking for outside help. I started looking for a consultant or a coach, a business coach, who had been through a similar story and had enough expertise to help me figure out how to transition my business from a one-man band to a really going concern. I had to take a huge leap of faith. I found one, so just long story short, I did find a business coach that I jumped in with. And let me tell you, this was a huge leap of faith because this was a very high-end business coach. She had had several agencies that she had grown from scratch to huge. And I was willing to pay dearly for the expertise that she was going to share with me. But let me tell you, I felt like I was holding my nose and diving into the deep end of the pool. I didn't feel I was ready for that kind of level of investment, but I knew I had to. So I had to look at my strengths and weaknesses and decide that I had to devote my energy to building the biz, not doing the biz. And I had to become the new biz dev queen if I was going to get my way out of this and devote myself to finding new clients. So I had to look at my strengths and weaknesses. So let me get back to that for a second. My strengths were that I was great with people. I really am a people person. I was horrible with detail, and I still am to this day. I was great at sales, but I wasn't doing it. I was horrible at organizing my business. I was horrible at bookkeeping. Oh my gosh. I mean, I didn't pay any attention to the books until my CPA would call me once a quarter and say, yoo-hoo, it's time to file our quarterly, our quarterly taxes. And I just, when I did pay any attention to the books, it took me 10 times longer than it should have to get that done. So I was horrible at the books. Anything involving the back end stuff, I was terrible with. So I was doing myself such a disservice by doing those things that I did not do well. Who was I kidding? I really had to step into the areas that I did have expertise and love for and get myself out of the areas where I was just a disaster. So the light bulb came on. And again, working with this coach was critical. And I decided to commit myself to a real consistent marketing funnel to attract prospects and customers on a consistent basis, so I wasn't leaving my revenue up to chance. And I had to start serving in my zone of genius, not reacting to every fire drill that comes in every day. That fire drill feeling where you sit down to your desk, you've got a to-do list, you've got maybe 3 priorities that you want to accomplish, and you know, the emails start coming in, the phone calls start coming in, you've got a client who's got a crisis, and suddenly your well-crafted to-do list and your priorities go out the window. I had to get away from that. So I started to carefully and cautiously invest in a team and spend some money on building a prospecting system. This took time, by the way, but so well worth it. So my business grew each year for more than 9 years that I had that agency. I built a carefully selected team of rock stars. I was consistently bringing in more business every single month. And more important, I could sleep at night and even take vacations. And when I moved on from the business, we were doing millions in revenue every year, all due to the steps I'm going to lay out for you today. And I hopefully will help you shortcut this process for you. So this is also possible for you, with no matter what niche you are in, it doesn't matter what kind of business you're in, this process will work for everybody who is a solopreneur and wants to get to the next step. So some of the keys to my success that you can grab onto right away is you need to be open to change. You need to be willing to do the work, because there's no magic bullets here. You need to take action every single day. You need to put one little foot in front of the other. You need to start the change before you feel ready, and that is critical. Remember, I hired that business coach before I felt ready. Nose clamped, diving into the deep end of the pool. I wasn't ready. I dove in anyway. You need to build your business for the future, not just for survival for today. So let's talk about these magic 5 steps. They aren't so magic, but let me tell you what they are. So the 5 steps we're going to talk about in more detail is mindset changes, time management, thinking like a CEO, not a worker bee, starting building a team, and systems, tools, and templates. So that's what we're going to cover today. Mindset. I love this slide and this quote. The problem is not the problem is your attitude about the problem. First and foremost, you have to decide that you are going to succeed in your business. First and foremost. There will be problems and challenges, and some of them will be huge, but you need to think of them as hurdles, not walls. Understand that you're going to have a short-term and a long-term focus. Understand the necessity and the inevitability of some failure. Keep on trying new things. Decide that you are going to succeed no matter what challenges come up. Don't fall in love with any of the specific tactics or formats that you've started with. Stay nimble, pivot, test, iterate, and try again. But keep moving forward, because you've decided that you're going to succeed. So think for yourself, how many of you can say you've had a failure of some type in your business or your career? And think about how you responded to it, right? This is how you respond to a problem, not the problem itself. What's your mindset around responding to problems? So that is the make or break as to whether or not your business is going to succeed. You have to decide that it's going to succeed. So mindset changes is the core of success in any business, in life, in everything. And when your mindset's in the right position, in the right place, you give yourself permission and ability to achieve your goals. And again, problems are barriers to be scaled, not walls that stop you. So here are some of the mindset changes that I have found, some of the mindset issues, that come up for solopreneurs. And again, with all of the women that I've talked to over the course of that 10 years, these are the ones that come up frequently. So mindset issues. 1, I can't afford it. That is a big stopping point right there. I can do it myself. I can't trust anyone else because I can do it myself. No one will do it as well as I can. Another one, who am I to think I can do this? Who am I, to run this business? Who am I to hire people? Who am I to be the expert? Who am I? I'm a fraud. It's only a matter of time before they find out that I'm a fraud. Everyone else is doing fill in the blank. Everyone else is starting a mastermind, or doing a podcast, or has got a YouTube channel coming, or a YouTube channel going, or whatever they are doing. The more you compare yourself to other people, to other businesses, the more you will have a lack of self-confidence because you just don't feel that you can compare. And so the more you are looking outside of yourself, the more your self-confidence is going to plummet. Another one mindset that's just a killer is you make decisions from a place of fear. So I guarantee you, if you come from fear, your business will never grow, and you will be too afraid to allow it to grow. And if you come from a place of scarcity, you won't be searching for solutions because you've already decided that the world doesn't have them for you. And if you come from a lack of confidence, you'll never, ever allow yourself to succeed. So this is all between your ears. And if we're working together, we're going to change that. Because as I said earlier, when you're acting from a solid mindset, you have confidence, you have freedom, you have creativity, you have clarity. You get out of your own way, and but let me say, you can't hop over this step. The word mindset is bandied about a lot, right? It's an easy to use. It's, it might sound woo-woo to some of you, but you can't skip this step, because getting your attitude and your mind solid is the most important thing that you can do for yourself in your business. And again, if we end up working together, we will spend the time that you need on doing this, on dealing with your mindset issues. So let me tell you an example of one of my favorite mindset issues that comes up for all of us, but especially women in business, and I think more women than men. It's called imposter syndrome. And this is where you just feel like a fraud. Who am I, as I said earlier, who am I to run this business? Who am I to give this keynote speak? As soon as I open my mouth, they're going to find out what a fraud I am. Or as soon as I do whatever, write this paper or approach this people with or do this webinar, people are going to know that I don't know what I'm talking about. So that's called imposter syndrome. And I guarantee you that we have all suffered from it. The more risks you take in your business, the more risks you take in life, the more you grow, the more likely that you're going to come up against it. And I just want to give you a story of one of my clients who was up against this in a big way. So let me tell you about Kate. Kate and I started working together, gosh, I want to say 4 or 5 months ago. And Kate had been a copywriter for, I want to say 2 decades. So she was, and a solopreneur. Kate had been an excellent copywriter. I used her for my copy quite a lot of the times. I referred her out to my clients and to other people. She was stellar at what she did. She just wrote sizzling copy. But she got to the point after 20 years, as you can imagine, where she was ready to move on. And what she really wanted to do was to start a coaching business for writers to help people learn how to write. And so she hired me to help her launch her coaching practice. And at the end, as midway through the first session, I could tell Kate was not receptive to a lot of what I was saying to her. She had a wall built up. And I had to ask her, Kate, in your own words, what's the problem here? What do you think is keeping yourself from moving forward with this coaching business? And she took a minute to think, and she said, who am I to be the sage? Why do I think I'm in a position to give anybody direction? Who am I to be a coach? And so that mindset issue of imposter syndrome was really stopping Kate from moving forward. So we spent some time together. We spent, I want to say, 1 full session or more talking about how confident she should be, all that she had accomplished, why she was exactly the right person to be doing this. And it took a while to tease this apart. But until Kate could get over this mindset issue, she couldn't get on with the building of her coaching practice. But once we had worked together for that first session to tease that apart, she was able to hire a few contractors to help her with the back end parts of the coaching business. She was able to put together a pipeline, prospecting piece so that she could actually start getting new clients. And at the end of, I want to say, 4 to 5 weeks, she was able to get 2 new clients, and she had several more in the pipeline, and she was a happy camper, but she had to get through that first mindset issue. So, second step that you want to think about as you go from being a solopreneur to a CEO is you need to take control of your time. So the one thing that I hear from every single solopreneur that I have talked to is that they are time starved. And believe me, you need to master your time, not let it take control of you so that you're in charge so that you can build your business. The bad news is that, well, let me back up again. This is where the rubber hits the road for a lot of solopreneurs. They're working way too hard. They spend way too many hours staring at a huge to-do list and tearing their hair about how to get it all done, knowing that they won't. That's a lot of stress right there. But the bad news is that the longer that you stay in this trap, the less likely you'll ever crawl out of it. Does this ring true for you? You just can't get out of this being too busy, too busy. I guarantee you'll burn out, as I have many times in the past until I got this under my belt. You'll lose your passion for you had for your business. And unless you start controlling your time, it will control you and you'll never accomplish your goals. You are the effect of everyone else's agenda, not yours. So let me give you, I have a lot of techniques for time management, but the one I want to focus on here because I think it's the most powerful and the most easy to communicate in a webinar like this is called time blocking. Time blocking, let me describe it here. Calendar blocking, time blocking, is scheduling your time in your calendar for important events that take place weekly or monthly so that they help you move forward. And by that, I mean physically getting out your calendar, whether you use an online calendar or a hard copy, taking out your calendar and putting things into your calendar on a weekly basis and monthly basis that have to get done. And so that might be something like the time when you see your clients. Typically, I see clients on a Tuesday, Thursday from like 10 to 4. So those blocks of times are blocked out. I know that that's the time that I'm going to be seeing clients. You might want to block in time to work on client projects. You might want to block in time for networking and getting out into the community so that you're actually becoming visible. Time for marketing and prospecting so that you're actually planning for growth. One of the things that I'll talk about later is CEO time. So these are chunks of time that you put in your calendar such that you can't override them. So this is a discipline, and not every hour of your day or week needs to be structured, but the blocking out of crucial elements and sticking to that time block will eliminate that feeling of overwhelm. So there are many ways that you can do time blocking, but the one thing that's important is you do keep in mind your schedule. What's important to you in your business on a weekly and a daily basis. The trick to making this work is honoring the way you want to run your business. As an example, if you're the parent who does pick up the kids after school, your husband, your partner drops them off, you do the pickup, you know that from 2:45, you're going to leave at 2:45, you're going to get to school at 3, you're going to pick up the kids, you're going to bring them home, you're going to set them up the snack or whatever your post-school regimen is. And, you know, it's going to take a full hour before you can get back to your desk. And so if you're smart, you will block that time off in your calendar so that you aren't putting anything else in that time. If you've got a client call scheduled for 3:10, you know you're not going to make it. So you're going to be completely stressed. You're going to be late to the call. You want to make sure that you're honoring your life so that you have that time blocked out. This is a discipline at first, but you'll become more productive, less stressed, and more excited about doing your business the more that you can block things into your calendar with that time blocking thing. So let me tell you about a couple of clients of mine that I've worked with where this really, really helped them. Kathleen, a client that I absolutely adore, is a consultant to the e-commerce industry, and she came to me because she felt she'd lost her groove. Her business had been in a hiatus for a while, and she was ready to get back into business in a big way, but she wanted to make sure that she actually was doing it according to what she wanted to get done. Sorry, I'm losing my place here. One moment, please. She wanted to relaunch her consulting business. But she found that she was sitting at her desk and not getting a whole lot done. You know that feeling when you're sitting at your desk and you feel like you're busy, but you're not really accomplishing anything? I know we've all spent time doing that. That's what she felt like she was doing. She felt a little disorganized. She told me she felt lazy, which was absolutely not the case. She was busy, but not getting things done. This is another mindset issue I want to just call to your attention. Busy does not equal productive. And it's very easy to get caught in that trap of I'm busy, 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 but you're not getting anything done and you're not doing anything important in your business. You can spend a lot of time on social media, but it's not getting revenue in the door. So we sat down together and we blocked out her calendar to include what was important to her in her life. First of all, she didn't want to go back to working the 40, 50, and 60 hours a week that she had been doing previously before she took a bit of a break. She wanted to make sure that her work life was more laid back now because she had other things she was doing. She was doing volunteer work that she felt very strongly about. So we sat down and blocked out 2 to 3 mornings a week where she was going to be prospecting for new business. And we came up together with the methodology by which she was going to be doing that prospecting. But she knew that she had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 9 until noon or whatever it was that she carved out, where she was dedicating that time to doing her prospecting. And she didn't have to be pretending to be doing it any other time of the week because that was her dedicated time. So she was freeing up other time to not be doing that, to not be feeling guilty, and to actually do her volunteer work, spend time with her husband, go for walks, do whatever else she wanted to be doing. She also outsourced the research around her prospecting, who she would be reaching out to someone else who was actually getting it done. Because in that dithering that she was doing, sitting at her computer, she wasn't getting it done. So just by setting up a calendar that worked for her and instituting the discipline of actually getting it done, she was able to get more people in her pipeline, get new prospects in her pipeline, and close some new pieces of business. And this was after just working together for a couple of sessions. So that was one person that helped a lot. The other one, love this gal, was Logine, one of my clients. She was a real estate agent for over 30 years and had been very successful. She was in the middle of a big slump. And you know, real estate is like that. You're up or you're down, you're in or you're out. It's very up and down. And she was in the middle of a particularly big slump. She didn't know what to do with herself. She felt she was, again, sitting at the computer feeling unproductive. She knew she was busy making, but not making any progress. And I think more than anything else, she just felt untethered, right? She didn't know how to structure her time. She didn't know what to do to make sure that she was actually moving forward in the business. She was just stuck. Again, I think the fact of time blocking helped her create a schedule that helped her understand and make good use of this quote unquote downtime. Now it wasn't downtime, now she was farming and she was creating opportunities for the future. So the first thing I asked her to do was to hire an assistant for a project, 5 hours of an assistant's time, that was $150, to get her prospecting database back into good shape. And with that, then, she could start the process of prospecting. Again, 1 or 2 mornings a week, she was dedicated to prospecting. She also allocated networking time where she was going to business luncheons, where she was reaching out and having coffee with someone who might be a good referral partner. She structured outreach into her day so that she felt good about the time that she was spending. It wasn't downtime, it wasn't lost time. And by the 4th session together, she came back to me and said, I have a new piece of business, and she was so excited. It took a mindset shift. It took some calendar blocking so that she could feel good about herself again in this downtime and go forward. The other thing I told her to do was get out of the house more often, and that really made a difference. So, number 3, let's go on to number 3, thinking like a CEO. I'm a big one for starting with strategy before tactics. And don't start doing anything until you have an overall picture of where you're going to go. And it's our job as the CEO of our business to define what that strategy is going to look like. So one of the things I hear from a lot of solopreneurs that I've worked with is, Elise, if I'm not doing the work, what am I doing? What am I doing? And so the skills that it takes to be a CEO, the what of what you're doing as a CEO looks very different than the what you're doing when you are the worker bee. And a CEO is creating the vision and direction for the business, finding and bringing in new clients and projects and making them happy. That's what a CEO does. So is it just you when and where you get some help? So let's talk about, if you are a solopreneur, the first thing you might be thinking about is, when do I want to get help, and where do I go to get some help, and what kind of help do I need? You want to be moving in the direction of getting yourself out of the day-to-day as much as you possibly can, because ultimately your job is not to be working in the business or doing the day-to-day, but working on it. So your business might meet, So thinking like a CEO, let's talk about some specifics, because I want to outline what this might look like for some of you by showing you some of my other clients and how they've had to work through, again, identifying what they're doing if they're not doing the work. So the first example is a client I had named Melissa. This is so interesting. Melissa has a fairly large business. It has multiple divisions or parts to it. She already had a team of 3 or 4 people that were helping her, but she had not learned to think like a CEO. We started a coaching program for 3 months together. The first 2 sessions we had together, I could not believe how much doing she was doing. She had so much detail that she was in charge of. She was just pulled in a million different directions. And I just couldn't believe it, given how long that she had business, and given how long also that how many people she had working with her, she still was stuck in those. Remember that guy stuck in the weeds? She was still stuck in the weeds. And again, mindset, she had never made the transition from thinking like a solopreneur to thinking like a CEO. So even though she had people underneath her, she was over managing. She was she was just jumping into other people. She wasn't allowing them to do her job so that she could do her job. And again, once we started working together, again, that first session, I think my eyebrows shot up because I couldn't believe how much doing she was doing. We spent some time talking about the mindset around, why are you not delegating? Why is it hard for you to delegate? Do you know what delegation really looks like? What is your org chart? Do you have the right people doing the right things? What are you going to be doing now that you're not doing Andre's job, right? What are you going to be doing Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday? Because you're not back there working with the clients. So we had to parse this out and work it through. But again, after a period of time, she was able to ease into her role as CEO so that she was no longer doing other people's work. So it took a bit of time, but we were able to get there. Another client, Amanda, and this might resonate with some of you, many of you. Amanda had a service-based business where she was providing SEO, optimization, and website building for clients. She'd been doing this for, gosh, I want to say 10 years. Every time I called Amanda, she was buried in work and couldn't see herself getting out of this hole. She had dug for herself, and had spent years trying to do that. I had hired Amanda to build a website for me several businesses ago. And so I was now a client, and I just couldn't believe how buried she was in the day-to-day of what she was doing. She then turned around and hired me to help her try to get out of this hole that she had dug for herself. The first thing we did together, I forced her to increase her prices. In fact, I had her double her prices because I felt that she was very underpriced. This is a common theme that many solopreneurs suffer from, is not valuing their work, not charging enough, and therefore having to scurry extra fast to get enough revenue in to justify a full-time gig. So I twisted her arm in a big way and had her double her rates. Screaming. She said, I'm going to lose all my clients. And what happened, and I knew what happened, is that she did lose some of her clients, but the ones she lost, the ones who were not willing to appreciate her value and pay her the higher rates were the ones that were the most problematic and the most time consuming. So what she did end up with was fewer clients, and therefore she was working fewer hours to make the exact same revenue, which freed her up then to create what she really wanted to be doing, which was online courses, so that she could get out of the done-for-you services business and into a different business model, which was providing courses and I think a membership site, so that she was working on the one-to-many model, not one-to-one. So that allowed her to do two things. She had more money coming in as a result of doubling her prices, and she allowed herself then to hire two very part-time people to learn the SEO part, to learn the web development part, so that she didn't have to be the only one doing that for her clients. Secondly, it allowed her time to build that course, and we also upped the price of that course so that she, again, once she launched it, she could be bringing more money in for less time spent. This was a mindset shift that had to happen so that Amanda knew how to think like a CEO, not a busy worker bee. Mind shift had to happen first, and then we carved out how to make that happen and how to think like a CEO. So just like Amanda, you will stay stuck in the trap of being the worker bee. And to free yourself up from the trap, you must start delegating some things to a few carefully chosen people. You just have to. So when I say start building a team, oh, I skipped. We went from I'm sorry. So the next step is to start building a team. Sorry about that. And so what you have to do if you're going to grow your business is you have to get out of being worker bee mode. You have to start getting some help. Usually when I say to people, start building a team, what comes to mind is I have to hire my first employee. And that's not at all what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is starting small. Maybe 5 hours a week, finding a contractor to do some of the work that you don't love doing or you don't do well, as I didn't do with my bookkeeping stuff, and make it small. So hire them for 5 hours a week on a contractual basis. Test first before you commit, right? So you don't have to commit to an absolute ongoing 5 hours a week. You can say, we're going to test this together for 30 days and see how this goes. So you haven't made a commitment that you can't get out of. This will not break the bank. As I told you with my client, Logine, she hired someone on a part-time basis to get a particular project done that then turned into ongoing help. But she just tested before she committed. It didn't break the bank, $150. What it did allow her to do, and allows many of us to do, is to start doing the work where we have more revenue potential. Getting new clients. Again, back to my story, hiring that very, very expensive, well, at the time it felt very, very expensive coach allowed me then to restructure my business such that I could bring in new clients. And I found that I paid for that coach 10 times over in the first 2 months. So it's not going to break the bank, but you have to start doing this. Fear of spending money can keep you stuck. If you want to grow, start small, but start. The big aha moment came for me when I started thinking about in terms of investing money, not spending money. I was investing in myself and my business, not spending money, and therefore losing it and, oh my God, I'm earning less. That's a big mindset shift there, but it's one that once you make that change, you'll really start to look for areas where you can invest where it's going to have the largest ROI. You're not going to be thinking of these as expenses. This will free you up to start building, not running on a hamster wheel. It's hard to imagine until you experience it, but believe me, this makes a big difference. Okay. This is how I finally got off my hamster wheel. I just said this. So my coach at that time the first thing she forced me to do was get a bookkeeper. And I want to just describe what this looked like because it was so funny. She forced me to get a bookkeeper. And a bookkeeper is not a full-time gig, right? A bookkeeper, you might need 5 hours a month, if that. And so I don't remember what the going rate for bookkeepers was at the time, but maybe it was $30 an hour, $50 an hour. But she forced me to bring that bookkeeper in. It looked like 5 hours a month, or 5 hours a week, I can't remember. It took that big bookkeeper a tenth of the time to do the books that it took me to do, right? So I was envisioning me spending, 10 hours times $50 an hour a week to bring this bookkeeper in to help me, when actually she did the work so quickly. It got done in no time, and I was spending very little money. So you want to look for areas where you can do that for yourself in your business. It might not be bookkeeping, but there are other areas where you can start pulling someone in. I was able to grow to an annual revenue of over $1 million in less than a year because I had freed my time up to do what I was good at doing. So that's the fourth step you want to take. The fifth one is systems, tools, and templates. Every time you repeat an action or an email or a proposal or a process, it's keeping you on that hamster wheel. So you want to be sure that every time you do something, you create a template out of it. So whether it's a proposal, I have templates for my proposals, for my contracts, for emails that I send out repeatedly, for all kinds of things. And so the more you can do this, the better off you are. The more that you can create ways to train an up-and-comer or someone who you will be part of your team, the more you can do that. Do a training video. They're easy peasy. Use Zoom, do a 10-minute video on how to do whatever it is. So you can then turn that over to someone else and have them do the work. You're not doing the work. So again, you start to develop systems that can be followed by anyone, not the CEO. So you're training other people. Start planning for your future company right now by creating systems for your future contractors or employees. This stuff's going to change over time because your business will change. But the sooner you start this process, the better off you're going to be. So those are the 5 steps, but I want to give you a bonus because I think this is really, really critical. Find a mentor or a coach or a guru to help you get out of your own way. This was the turning point for me, and I did it before I thought I was ready. So think about it though, the best athletes, politicians, coaches in the world have coaches, they have mentors, they have someone to help them get ahead, to reach their goals. Why would you want to do this alone? So the best coaches bring new ideas. Again, if you're a solopreneur, you are rattling around your own little head. And that's not good. So the best coaches bring new ideas. The great coaches keep you accountable. The right coach gives you the strategy and the process you need to reach your goals. Great coaches keep you out of overwhelm. And they save you time and money. That is what I found in a heartbeat working with a coach that helped me through my transition. So again, I struggled for 18 months on my own. And while business was booming, I was drowning. And the mindset shift that happened for me was I had to stop playing small. And I hired that coach to show me how to get out of my own way, out of my own trap. And someone who had been in the exact same spot, right? She had built agencies, several agencies over time. She had expertise to give me so that I could get out of my own way and grow my business. So here's the lesson I learned the hard way, and I'd like to keep you from doing that yourself. I spent 18 months drowning and turning away business because I could not serve even one more client. I was losing money every month. And I think back on that and I just want to shoot myself, right? So all the time that I was spinning, those 18 months, I could have been earning more money, but I was unwilling to invest in myself to get out of that trap and move on into the revenue producing that I wanted to do. So let me just do a quick recap for you. We did the 5 steps are mindset changes, time management, thinking like a CEO, starting building a team, and systems, tools, and templates. So you have a choice. You have 2 choices actually. You can stay stuck and scared and don't take action and play it safe, or you can take action, invest in yourself, and go all in. So let's make this happen. And you might be wondering how you can implement all of these tactics yourself. And these 5 steps work. Just see how many of my clients I've told you about that have had success with it. So if you'd like me to personally help you implement everything we've gone over today, I would be really excited to do so. So in the beginning of the presentation, I said I had a gift for you, and now I want to tell you a little more about that. So my team and I say so a lot. My team and I have set aside some time to talk to you about how you can apply these ideas to your business today. And this is all completely free of charge. You know this, you got to where you are in your business right now with hard work and tenacity and determination. And you know from experience that creating a business is not a walk in the park. You're destined for big growth. You've decided that you're going to grow, but profits are not going to just land in your lap. You get it. What's worked up until now is not going to work into the future. You've got to do make some changes before you're going to see the growth that you want. So what I want to offer is a free call. I want to invite you to schedule a call with me, to spend 30 minutes on the phone with me, and just let's talk about where you are in your business, where you might be stuck, where you might be able to get over some of these humps. Let me help you for 30 minutes and see if we can't resolve some of these issues and find some solutions for you. And I'm offering these calls because I want to be of service to other women entrepreneurs first and foremost. Honestly, I get more pleasure out of helping other women grow than anything else in the world. It's just candy for me. So on the call, we're going to give you hopefully some clarity on what you want your business to look like and some steps to get you there. We're also going to, we also want you to implement what we showed you today without struggle, without wasting time, money, and getting results. And I want you to be able to get some results right away. So a little bit of a caveat. This call is not for you if you are really happy being a solopreneur. If you don't want to grow, if you really are happy being a one-woman band, please don't call. It's a waste of your time and it's a waste of my time. If you're just experimenting with your business, don't book a call. If you're trying to do everything as cheaply as you possibly can, and I guarantee that will keep you stuck, don't call. If you're indecisive and doubtful, don't call. You have to be ready to take action. If you're not ready to invest the necessary energy, time, and money into your business and yourself, don't call. And if you think you can continue to go it alone, even though you're struggling and you're overwhelmed and you are burnt out, if you think you can do it yourself, don't call. You'll be wasting your time and my time. But if you do want to get some help with these 5 steps and getting out of the solopreneur trap, I'd like to invite you to call now. So spaces are limited too. We're going into the holiday season. I want to make sure that I can take care of you if you do want to book a call with me. So act fast because I've already booked 2 calls already this morning. So jump in there if you do want to book a call. This link there is the link to my online calendar. And on that, you can schedule a time. It'll show you my calendar and what times I have available. Pick one that works for you, and then we'll go from there. I really want you to act fast, though, because, as I say, we're going into the holiday season, and I really want you to get prepared for 2019 to be able to do this in a really big way. So, again, schedule a one-to-one session with me. Let's dive in deep to what you're doing in your business, how I can help you. So these are free discovery calls. Again, there's nothing to lose. Book a call. There's your link, and there you go. Free, free, free. What's to say no? So I'm going to leave that up there for a little while. If you have questions, if you have put them in the Q&A, if you haven't put them in the Q&A by now, do so. And as I say, I'm going to look at the time in a minute because I can't see it when I'm sharing my screen, but please do so. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen there. Let me take a look at the Q&A and see if I have anything in there. No open questions. I do have something in the chat. I have a thank you. Okay, so thank you very much. Again, I'm going to be sending out a replay of this if you want to hear again. If you want to, I'd hope to hear from you. I'd love to book a call with you. So please book a call. Let's talk about your business. Again, it's free, free, free. So let's make sure that you are prepared for 2019. That's it for me. Gosh, 1 minute after the hour. So that was pretty good timing. Thanks so much, you guys. I hope to hear from you soon and take care. Thanks for joining me today.